We do have a short window where we have weather, bad weather coming in, some snow, and please understand.
Coming up tonight on your news at 5, the NTSB chair has landed here in Alaska. We have the latest on the recovery efforts for the fatal crash just outside of Nome. Then, President Trump has announced a new trade alliance with Japan. We have how it impacts Alaska. And later tomorrow, the big day, Super Bowl, we get a sneak peek at one very special performance.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
And tonight, just about 48 hours after the fatal crash of a Bering Air flight into Norton Sound, Alaska State Troopers are releasing the names of the 10 victims of that crash. Those victims are listed here, ranging in age from 30 to 58 years old. Mothers, daughters, fathers, sons, but all of them Alaskans. Next of kin have been notified, and AST says that each of their bodies has been recovered and brought to Nome, where they were identified by AST. The bodies will now be taken to the state medical examiner's office here in Anchorage for autopsy. The National Transportation Safety Board and its chair are here in Alaska as the agency's investigation into the Thursday plane crash in Norton Sound moves forward. Jennifer Homendy is the NTSB chair and is one of several NTSB officials in the state now investigating the Bering Air plane crash from Thursday, which left no survivors. She arrived in Alaska this afternoon, stopping in Anchorage to give a press conference before continuing to travel to Nome. She says that weather has played a significant role in what the NTSB is now calling a recovery effort. Homendy says says today's agents, after recovering the bodies of the victims, are now moving on to the wreckage.
We do have a short window where we have weather, bad weather coming in, some snow, and please understand that some difficult conditions because this is on an ice flow, which is moving about 5 miles a day.
Homendy says it's too soon to share any information about what could have caused the crash. She says her team does need to recover the wreckage before it can make any final determinations. And a woman in Fairbanks is being charged a second-degree murder after being arrested in Anchorage, accused of killing her son. A press release from the Fairbanks Police Department says it received a report from a caller who had been concerned about not seeing Heather Alexie or her children in some time. The caller entered their residence and found the body of a child there. Officers arrived to the home along the 1700 block of University Avenue and said that Alexie's 6-year-old son, Peter, was confirmed dead inside. To find Heather Alexie and her other young child, authorities used cell phone data and discovered that she was in Anchorage, where Anchorage police made contact with her. FPD says that Anchorage detectives interviewed Heather Alexie, and she told them, police say, that she had inflicted injuries that led to Peter's death before traveling to Anchorage. Heather Alexie is facing charges of second-degree murder. If you have any information on the case, please reach out to FPD 907-450-6565. And turning now to the weather, temps staying in the 20s for a while, at least here in Anchorage. Robert Forget has the forecast now. Robert?
Hey, nice to have you with us, and indeed, that is the case. I do want to talk a little bit about the winter weather advisory, and that is out in the area of that plane crash. We are still looking at some pretty significant weather over the next 24 hours. By 9 p.m. tomorrow, these winter weather advisories should fall off, include Shishmaref, the Bering Strait coast, South Seward Peninsula coast, and also St. Lawrence Island. And we're also including the Yukon Delta coast. Again, all those till tomorrow at about 9 p.m. Then they'll fall off with a little bit of a break. But blowing snow, mixed precip, rain, and windy conditions expected over the next 24 hours. As we go to Anchorage, we have been seeing some fairly nice weather in that area, and that has, of course, brought us into temperatures in the 20s, as you mentioned, John, and still seeing some of those with 22 in South Anchorage. As we take a look, we are looking at some fairly nice weather. Partly cloudy skies with 18 degrees currently, sunny skies throughout much of South Central, and those temperatures really reflecting 20s and upper teens. And Fairbanks, a little below zero with 3, and we're also seeing some relatively clear skies throughout much of the interior with minus 25 already in Fort Yukon. Taking a quick look at the forecast for some cities, Anchorage, Fairbanks, Juneau, and Bethel, all sharing sunshine with temperatures 33 in Juneau, the high 24 in Anchorage, and Bethel coming in at 37.
All right, Robert, thank you very much. Look forward to that full forecast soon. On Friday, President Donald Trump announced a liquefied natural gas joint venture between the United States and Japan. During a press conference yesterday, the president outlined details of the plan, saying Japan will be importing new shipments of the resource. Governor Mike Dunleavy said in an interview with Alaska's news source that move will help Alaska for generations to come.
We're hoping now with this pipeline project that Alaska will lead again for the next 50, maybe 60, 70 years with gas.
Well, Senator Lisa Murkowski, leading the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, sent a letter to the Office of Management and Budget earlier this week asking that the office direct federal agencies to move to protect Indian tribes and related programming across the country. This comes in the aftermath of recent Trump administration orders to include those affecting diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, and accessibility and environmental justice programming and funding. The letter was sent on February 5th and states in part that, quote, as the U.S. Supreme Court has affirmed, Indian tribes are a unique political class, not a racial one, and their sovereignty and trust relationship with the federal government must be upheld. I ask OMB to take action now to reaffirm the unique treatment, programs, and services to Indian tribes based on their political and legal status, unquote. Murkowski wrote, which is recognized in the U.S. Constitution, treaties, and many federal laws and policies to ensure that there is no disruption to federal tribal programs. Now, she did add that the Department of the Interior issued a secretarial order that includes limitations and could serve as a model for other agencies. The Association of Village Council Presidents, which represents 56 member tribes of the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, among those reacting, saying today that the letter provides some hope. Alaska's news source requested comment from the OMB today, but has not yet received a response.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.